Julius Caesar, the man who was betrayed by his own friends. Imagine this, a man so powerful, so feared, that even the richest politicians in Rome trembled when they heard his footsteps. But the craziest part, he didn't die in a war. He didn't die on a battlefield. He didn't die fighting Rome's enemies. He died surrounded by his own friends. And when he finally realized what was happening, he looked into the eyes of the man he trusted the most and whispered words that became immortal. Et2, Brute. You too, Brutus. This is the story of Julius Caesar, the man who rose from nothing, conquered the world, and was destroyed by betrayal. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why his death wasn't just an assassination. It was the moment the world changed forever. If you enjoy powerful real-life stories like this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, because this story gets darker and crazier with every minute. Julius Caesar was born in 100 BC into a noble Roman family. But don't imagine luxury. His family name was respected, yes, but they were not rich. Rome was a brutal city back then. Politics wasn't about speeches, it was about survival. The streets were full of violence, the Senate was full of corruption, and the powerful families controlled everything. Young Caesar grew up watching Rome tear itself apart, and very early in his life, he learned one truth. In Rome, you either become a lion or you become prey. Caesar wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the richest, but he had something else. He had ambition, a dangerous kind of ambition, the kind that keeps you awake at night, the kind that makes you believe you were born for greatness. And Caesar didn't just want to be successful, he wanted to be remembered. But Rome didn't give power easily. At one point, Caesar's life almost ended before it even began. A powerful dictator named Sulla was ruling Rome. Sulla demanded Caesar to divorce his wife because she was connected to Sulla's enemies. Caesar refused, and that refusal almost got him killed. Sulla put Caesar on a death list. Just like that, Caesar became a hunted man. He had to run, he had to fight. And for the first time, Caesar realized something terrifying. Rome didn't care who you were. If the wrong man hated you, you were already dead. Caesar survived, but he never forgot the lesson. From that day on, he decided he would never again be powerless. Years later, Caesar returned. Not as a frightened young man, but as someone with a plan. He became a politician, slowly building his reputation. He spoke like a genius. He knew how to charm crowds, he knew how to make the poor feel like he was their hero, and how to make the rich believe he was their friend. Caesar had a gift. He could read people, he could manipulate them without them even realizing. But politics alone wasn't enough. In Rome, if you wanted ultimate power, you needed an army. And Caesar knew exactly where to get it. He made alliances, one with the richest man in Rome, Crassus, and another with Rome's greatest general, Pompey. Together, they formed something called the First Triumvirate. Basically, 3 men controlling Rome like a shadow government. It wasn't official, but everyone knew. Rome belonged to them, and Caesar used this alliance like a ladder. He climbed higher and higher until he got the perfect opportunity. A military command in Gaul, modern-day France. And that's when the real Caesar was born. Gaul was not an easy land. It was wild, it was dangerous, and it was full of tribes that hated Rome. But Caesar didn't see danger. He saw opportunity. For years, Caesar fought brutal wars in Gaul. He conquered tribe after tribe. He defeated armies larger than his own. And slowly, Rome started hearing stories that sounded impossible. Stories about Caesar crossing rivers with thousands of soldiers. Stories about Caesar surviving ambushes. Stories about Caesar winning battles when defeat was guaranteed. His men began worshiping him. To them, Caesar wasn't just a general. He was destiny. He was unstoppable. And Caesar loved that, because every victory made him richer. Every victory made him more famous. Every victory made him more powerful. And Rome was starting to get scared. Because Caesar wasn't just conquering Gaul, he was building loyalty. His soldiers were not loyal to Rome, they were loyal to Caesar. And in Rome, that was the most dangerous thing possible. The Senate began to panic. They saw Caesar as a rising monster, a man who could return with his army and take everything. And the Senate decided Caesar must be stopped. Then everything changed. Crassus died in war. The alliance collapsed, and Pompey, once Caesar's friend, became his enemy. The Senate sided with Pompey. They ordered Caesar to return to Rome, but without his army. Basically, they wanted Caesar to come back as a weak man. A man they could arrest, a man they could destroy. Caesar had a choice. If he obeyed, his career would end, and maybe his life too. If he refused, it would mean civil war. And Caesar didn't hesitate. In 49 BC, Caesar marched toward Rome, and then he reached a small river, the Rubicon. Crossing that river with an army was illegal. It was treason. If Caesar crossed it, there was no turning back. Caesar stood there, staring at the water, and then he said words that became history. The die is cast, and he crossed the Rubicon. That single moment was Rome's point of no return. Rome exploded, Pompey fled the city, the Senate panicked, and Caesar marched in like a storm, not as a politician, but as a conqueror. Civil war began. Rome was fighting itself, brother against brother, friend against friend, and Caesar was hunting Pompey, across Italy, across Greece, across the Mediterranean, until finally the two greatest forces collided. Caesar versus Pompey, and Caesar won. Pompey escaped to Egypt, but fate had something brutal waiting for him. The Egyptian leaders, trying to impress Caesar, murdered Pompey. They cut off his head. And when Caesar arrived, they presented Pompey's head to him like a gift. They expected Caesar to smile. They expected Caesar to celebrate. But Caesar didn't, he cried, because Pompey wasn't just his enemy. Pompey was once his brother, and Caesar realized Rome had become a place where even legends could be slaughtered like animals. Now Caesar was unstoppable. He returned to Rome as the most powerful man alive. The people loved him, the army worshipped him, and the Senate feared him. Caesar was given the title of dictator. At first for a short time, then longer again, until finally they declared him dictator for life. And that's when Rome's politicians started to lose their minds. Because Rome was built on one rule: Rome would never have a king. Kings were hated. Kings were symbols of slavery, and Caesar was starting to look like a king. He wore special robes. He sat on a golden chair. His face was printed on coins. And the crowd began calling him something terrifying: the King of Rome. Caesar never officially called himself king, but deep inside, everyone knew he wanted it, and the Senate could feel it. But here's the truth. Caesar wasn't just hungry for power, he also wanted to fix Rome. He reformed the calendar, he reduced debt, he helped the poor, he expanded citizenship. He wanted Rome to become stronger than ever. But even good actions can create enemies when people think you're taking their control away. The rich senators hated him because Caesar didn't need them anymore. And in their minds, Caesar wasn't saving Rome, he was stealing Rome. That's when the whispers began. Secret meetings, hidden conversations, conspiracies. One by one, senators joined a dark plan to assassinate Julius Caesar. And leading them was a man Caesar trusted deeply, Marcus Junius Brutus. Brutus wasn't just a politician, he was Caesar's friend. Some even say Caesar treated him like a son. Caesar respected Brutus, he believed Brutus was loyal. But Brutus was torn, because the conspirators told him something powerful. If Caesar becomes king, Rome will die. They convinced Brutus that killing Caesar wasn't betrayal, it was patriotism, and Brutus believed them. The assassination was planned for March 15th, a day that would later become famous forever, the Ides of March. On that morning, Caesar's wife Calpurnia had a nightmare. She saw Caesar bleeding to death. She begged him not to go to the Senate meeting. Even a fortune teller warned Caesar, "Beware the Ides of March." Caesar hesitated. For a moment, it seemed like destiny was trying to stop him. But Caesar laughed. He believed he was untouchable. He believed no one in Rome would dare harm him. And he walked into the Senate. Inside, the senators stood calmly, smiling, acting normal. But under their robes, they carried daggers. Caesar sat down, and the conspirators surrounded him. One of them stepped forward and asked Caesar for a favor. Caesar refused. And suddenly, a senator grabbed Caesar's toga. Caesar turned in shock, and then the first dagger struck. Caesar stood up, confused. Another dagger hit, and another. The room erupted in chaos. Caesar tried to fight back, but there were too many. They stabbed him again and again. Blood splattered across the floor. Caesar looked around and saw faces he recognized, men he trusted, men he protected, men he forgave. And then he saw Brutus, standing there, holding a dagger. And Caesar froze, because in that moment, Caesar didn't see an enemy. He saw family, and Caesar whispered the words that became legend. Et tu, Brute, you too, Brutus. And after that, Caesar stopped resisting. He covered his face with his robe and collapsed. He was stabbed 23 times. And the greatest man in Rome died like a wounded animal on the Senate floor. The conspirators thought they had saved Rome. They believed the people would cheer. They believed Rome would celebrate freedom. But they were wrong. When Caesar's death was announced, Rome didn't rejoice. Rome went silent. The streets filled with fear. The poor cried. The soldiers were furious. And then Caesar's loyal friend, Mark Antony, gave a speech at Caesar's funeral. A speech so powerful, it turned the entire city into a firestorm. Antony showed Caesar's bloody robe. He pointed at every stab mark. He named the men responsible, and the crowd snapped. Rome exploded in rage. The people hunted the assassins. The conspirators fled. Brutus ran for his life. And Caesar's death didn't save the Republic, it destroyed it. Because after Caesar, Rome fell into even worse civil wars. And in the end, Caesar's adopted son Octavian rose to power and became Augustus, the first true emperor of Rome. So, ironically, the assassination meant to stop a king created an empire. Julius Caesar died, thinking he was betrayed. But the truth is, Caesar's biggest mistake wasn't trusting Brutus. His biggest mistake was believing power could be held without fear. Because the moment a man becomes too powerful, even his closest allies begin to imagine a world without him. And that's why Julius Caesar isn't just remembered as a conqueror. He's remembered as a warning that no matter how high you rise, your greatest enemy might be sitting right beside you, smiling. If you enjoyed this story, hit like and subscribe, because on this channel we tell the most intense true stories from history, the kind that feel like movies. And comment below. Do you think Caesar deserved to die, or was Rome afraid of greatness? Because Julius Caesar may have died, but his name became immortal.